Yo, what is popping, guys? We are finally back. It's been a while since I uploaded, but like maybe 2 weeks or so. But we are back finally with semifinals of the ITL with my boy Eric and his Reno Regis. Before I hop into the team and like Nick Bell, gotta give a shout out to all my viewers and my subs because I hit 100 subs yesterday before this game actually happened, and that's pretty hype. Like I usually don't care about like sub count or so because I do it for fun, but 100 is a nice milestone to hit. So thank you guys for that. Pretty hype about that. I might do a question and answer thing or something else. I don't know, but definitely appreciate the support. So yeah, we are here with the ITL conference finals. Eric, he like had a terrific season. I think he started with 4 or 5 losses and then didn't lose another game for 8 or 9 weeks. So he's like 9-4 or 8-5 heading into this game. Got a nice Magiana sweep going in the in the quarterfinals where I received the first round bye, obviously because of my of me winning my conference with an 11-2 record, which is hype. But yeah, here we are now, and like Eric's team is threatening as fuck. If you saw one of my games, the Kaman Ladias basically swept me in the late game. Um, I got kinda lucked in that one, but yeah, definitely like was a big issue. And my boy Eric here has the Ladio, so he can pull it off with Carmine variant. I'd be like in a pretty bad spot. Magina obviously is super big threat. I had to like really build my entire team so that Magina can't set up for free in my face. It was really tough prep. Brings to Lazel, Selgor, two special attackers that I like saw coming, but I wasn't 100% certain that they would. But Celeste is definitely a big threat. My only answer to this is an AV Torn, which I have to bring, obviously. And like Estelle can just be annoying with spikes and Final Gambit. I will like talk about that in a minute. Obviously, it brings the Bronzong and the Crook. I reckon Bronzong will be his rocker, so the Crook can be like a more can like fulfill a more offensive role, or maybe like check to like non-Dragon Step Hydreigon, which I actually bring. So, like, especially defense can kind of check this thing fairly well if he packs a superpower or he's toxic or something. But yeah, kind of what I expected. I knew Latios and Magino were coming. I knew Crocodile was coming. I saw Bronzong coming, and I kind of saw one of Celeste and Celebi come, but I wasn't 100% certain. So I still prepped for all 11 months on my Ponski, which was really hard. He has like a Mega Gyarados on the team as well, an Archeops, which actually fucks my shit up. But I think I built a very good team, a team that I'm pretty proud of, and like a team that has some heat potential. Obviously, gotta bring some creative stuff in the playoffs. So Venusaur here is like the same set that I brought earlier versus him in the season, like week 5 or so. It's or close to the same set, but it's a specially defensive variant this time to backup check Magiana, to backup check Salazzle and the Selgor, so that can never be too KO'd by, for example, what's called Specs or Selgor's Backbuster. So I can even shoot non-life or +2 Fire Blast from Salazzle and knock it out with the Earthquake. I'm sassy natured so that I can like um, use my offenses on both sides because I run the Leaf Storm, the Earthquake, and the Knockoff to go along with the Synthesis. Leaf Storm is kind of crucial because my opponent has the Mega Gara, and if Mega Gara runs an Avalanche variant, Giga Drain will get damage off but not knock it out, and he like just can blow me back with an Avalanche after taking the hit. So I had to run something that gets a guaranteed Oko off after Rocks damage, and Leaf Storm provides me with that. I'm looking at my opponent's team. I only have to clear Leaf Storm once versus the Crook, if I have to, which is pretty solid because with -2 special attack, I like once I get rid of Croak, he potentially like could have gone into a Mega Gara and set up on me. But now with Mega Gara not around and no other Mon weak to grass, I don't have to click this move at all if I like get rid of the Croak early, for example. Um, yeah, so this is the Venusaur set, especially defensive, allows me to like shoot one psychic from Ladias if need be, for example, unless it's specs, I think, or even like a spec psychic, I don't know. But Earthquake obviously here to never allow Magina a free setup, like it does 43% min to non or to not max HP Magina, I think so, or uninvested Magina, like 36 at least to max speed Magina, which allows me to easily revenge it. with some of my other mons like Metagross or Hitmonlee. um, Tornado T, as I said, and Assault Vest variant allows me to backup check a Specs Magearna. Flurkin bounces off, well, it does a fuck ton, but I can just use an out into a like Metagross after that, get my regenerator back, and go from there. That's also my counter to Salazzle, and a Salgon knockoff into Hurricane always kills a Salazzle, because like he has to run a certain amount of speed to outspeed my next fastest mon after Taunt, which is my Frostless. I'm gonna make sure that he outspeeds that, because like Destiny Bond is a thing, or Taunt, or like just hit power ground, for example, Thunder Wave, all this stuff. So I figured he was running a lot of speed so that he isn't too bulky, but knockoff into Hurricane always kills, so that's nice. Um, Fire Blast never to KO from full, even if he specs. After rocks, obviously it is, but then I can like just knock him off, take another Fire Blast, and go from there. It would put me pretty low, but um, I feel like I can play around this, especially if I knock off the Life Orb. Venusaur can check it, as well as Hydreigon, which is not a fat variant, but a mon that is like naturally bulky, so it doesn't matter too much. Tornadoes, looking at the team matchup, is absolutely fantastic. It's my best answer to Latios, but a fat Latios with Carmine and Roost obviously could set up on it, unless I get Hurricane Confusions or so. But it checks Magearna with the Heat Wave, that's like 50% to it, if it's not like especially defensive variant, which I actually could see coming because of Hydreigon, which actually puts in a lot of work with my opponent's team. But besides that, it looks great. Tornadoes looks great with Salazzle and the Selgor. Unless the Selgor just goes for a suicide final gambit, which I'm pretty paranoid about in my prep, but yeah, definitely gonna make sure that I chip it down early so it can't like just take him on with it. Also beats Bronzong 1 vs 1, obviously with knockoff into heat waves. Yes, like I potentially have to like U-turn out once or twice to get regenerator back, but overall Bronzong can't really hard counter this thing just because it doesn't have recovery. Whereas Crook, like I have to play around it because Crook can potentially pursue trap me. Gotta be very careful about that. Pursuit, like just a super annoying move in general versus my team, especially like when I have a Metagross also there. But yeah, that's the Torn. Hydreigon here is finally bringing another Z move variant on the Hydreigon. It's Dark Pulse, Groundium Z, Earth Power with Roost and Taunt, like Stallbreaker set, which like look at my opponent's team. Ground plus Dark coverage hits everything for like at least 35%, 36%. I think Earth Power does around 35 to 40 to a Crook depending on the spread. If he has some investment, like definitely 3 at KO, I think, unless he has like leftovers or so. But overall, Dark puts Bob's Diladios. Magearna gets destroyed by Tectonic Rage if it's uninvested in HP, and then if he like is invested, I can predict it maybe coming in. If I come and burst the Bronze, for example, hit with the Earth Power and then knock it out with Tectonic Rage. Earth Power into Tectonic Rage is guaranteed to hit KO basically on Magearna. Earth Power also fucks up the Salazzle obviously, and Taunt is like just in case I have to like I play like a physically defense or like some sort of bulky no speed Latias and I have to taunt it so that it can't come right up or roost up in my face. Definitely gonna be interesting how I play around this, but yeah, we'll see. um, Definitely like one of the better win cons in this match. Like remember my opponent's team probably like once I get rid of Crocodile or Magearna, I don't really need my Venusaur anymore, but Torn and Hydra are like really huge in this game. Finny here is another backup check to Latios and Magearna. It has Haze, Defog, Moonblast, and Nature's Madness. Defog I just need it because Spikes fuck my team up. And like Nature's Madness and Moonblast like hit everything basically. To get 50% off on something with Nature's Madness is gonna be huge, especially on a steel types can easily check in. Otherwise, like Bronzing and Magearna, and like obviously Haze just in case Magearna sets up. I have the Wakan Berry, so I can chew a +1 Gigavolt Havoc easily from full or after rocks even. So like the same with Latios. Like Latios a +1 can't kill me with the Gigavolt Havoc. So if I keep this thing healthy, I am in a solid spot to like check both Latios and Magearna with the Finny, or at least like not allow free setup from them. Metagross here is a very bulky but adamant attacker, like have 156 or 170, 172 in HP and 148 in Spadef, so like it just allows me to never be too KO'd by Specs Ladi Draco, for example. never be 2KO'd by Thunderbolt into Z Thunderbolt, unboosted Giana, I think. Like, just gives me some solid bulk versus special attackers. Meteor Mash, Pursuit for the Latios, obviously in the Bronze Zone potentially, even though like the Aselgar, or like a locked in Sludge Wave Salazzle. Pursuit is like very solid versus team. And Bullet Punch, obviously with the Stealth Rock, I felt like rocks were needed in this game. Needed something to fit it on there, and like Metagross, Mesprit, and what's called Mammoth One are my only rockers, and I figured Metagross has the best matchup overall because I'm super paranoid about a Selgo with Final Gambit and Elite Endeavor Archeops, which I can like just 2KO with Bullet Punch and not allow him to like get super big chip on anything on my team. Same with the Selgo. Like a Selgo looking at my team, it can come in on everything and take it and get a kill if he like wants to go that round. If he just wants to get a suicide kill with a Selgo, there's nothing that can stop it besides Bullet Punch from Metagross. So when I built, I was like, if I see a Selgor or Archeops or both on my opponent's team, I will lead with Metagross no matter what. I have the Apapa Berry over the Colbur Berry, which is kind of annoying because now I like have to play around Pursuit and knockoffs. Like I chew every hit from Crocodile unless it's Bandit, and Bandit allows like Hydreigon to get a free kill, for example. So I don't think that's the way he wants to go with with the Crook, but definitely gotta play around Pursuit, and I don't do it as well in this match. Just a heads up. And last one I bring is the Hitmonlee. You barely see it here besides the background. It looks like a Diglett or so. But it's a Misty Seed Hitmonlee actually with Bulk Up, Substitute Reversal, and Knockoff. It's a set that I'm really proud of because it allows me to revenge +1 Gyarados, for example, to revenge a Scarf Crocodile, to revenge a weakened Latios, to revenge a shift gear Megiana, because I can just like get in after like a Sec Finny and like have the terrain up, get the speed boost which allows me to outspeed everything up to Scarf Latios. I don't see Scarf Salazzle come, so I like if I like get it in after sacking Finny, I can like just sub up into reversal range and like basically get a kill versus everything. If I get up to like +1, for example, on a locked into Pursuit or Knockoff Crocodile in front of a locked in -2 Latios in front of a Bronzong, I can get to +1. I can basically sweep because I get to +1, have the speed boost, and then like sub down to reversal range and kill everything. Everything besides Lati goes down to reversal at +1, and Latios, unless it's like a Z move or Colbur variant, cannot take a +1 knockoff after rock. So this Hitmonlee definitely can put in the work looking at my opponent's team. It didn't bring the Lucario, which is his only form of um, priority besides Water Shuriken as Selgor, which I don't see coming, which would do jack shit to Hitmonlee. I think it would be like 15% or 70% on 3 hits with the Misty Seed boost, so not a threat at all. But yeah, look at this matchup. Like Torn and Hydra are gonna be huge. Hitmonlee has a very solid chance to sweep depending on all the sets and the items. Obviously, gotta scout a little, but I feel like Hitmonlee can either find just a nice late game sweeper or a late game breaker. But I gotta be really careful, obviously, about Megiana and Latios. But I felt like my team can take them on quite easily, I would say, or like at least has a chance to take them on. But yeah, let's arrive to game. We're already 14 minutes in or so. So yeah, he leads off with Salazzle, which is great for him. I lead off with Metagross, as I said. If I see a Naselgo, I always lead with Metagross and he like counter teams that. Maybe knowing that I would try to go for Bullet Punch early or just try to get on my rocks early. And leads with the Salazzle, which makes sense. If he's toxic, he gets a free toxic off on anything he wants to. And I decide to go into my designated check, which is the Tornadus, and he fires off the Toxic actually, which makes me think this is more of like a bulky set and not like a life up attack. It could still be life up Toxic, but I like didn't expect it to be like a setup variant, which he actually reveals to be as I go for the knock on the second turn. I go for the knock off the life up, which allows me to chew a +1 Fire Blast, I think, from his list, but goes for Nestiplo. Nestiplo Toxic, very interesting set. He could have potentially bluffed a more supportive Salazzle with like Taunt, Substitute, Toxic, for example, and like switch out here to Bronzing because once I saw Toxic, I was pretty sure it doesn't have the Nasty Blow, but it actually reveals to have it, which is yeah, like good to know, but definitely like nice of him that he lets me knock him off. And now like that this level +2 is a big threat actually. Like Venusaur choose a hit because I knocked off the life up, but if I don't hit my Hurricane on the next turn, if he decides to stay in, I basically lose a Mon here, which is really unfortunate. But yeah, gotta play around this, I think. So I go for the Hurricane here, and he decides to not switch out to the Bronze, which I find really surprising. And I hit the Hurricane, thankfully. So Torn lives and Celeste goes down, which is great for me. I don't really know if I agree with this play. He told me afterwards he was hard predicting Utah, and he was kind of like playing that he has nothing to lose because obviously he's like the underdog in this matchup just going by regular season record, and yeah, like he figured he had to try to play aggressive early to get a heads up start. But thankfully, I don't let this happen and knock out the Salazar with the Hurricane. Swan is kind of weakened, but it's not too bad. I can just go for the U-turn here as Bronson comes in. We'll just get up his rocks, I'm pretty sure, and Metagross comes in, which is nice. So I have like a bunch of plays here that I could make. I can't set up my rocks, which like isn't too big of a deal, but it pressures the Aselgor from like getting a final Gambit kill guaranteed after like taking the rocks damage if he's a max HP variant. It like doesn't pressure Bronze and Megina or Crook at all, but I felt like rocks versus Aselgor were pretty huge. I could have also gone for the Pursuit to pop a potential Colbur Berry from the Zonga, but I figured like this would do pitiful damage. It's not worth doing it because Bronzong actually like doesn't do a lot for him versus my squad unless like Trick Room variant that wants to set up a slow Crocodile, slow bulk up Crocodile or a slow Magiana from doing damage, but besides that, like he can't really do too much with the Zonga. It's basically only the Rocker and like just a pivot versus stuff like Venusaur or Tornado. So I figured Pursuit is not the play. I could also go for Meteor Mash, predicting him to go into a bulky Crocodile that wants to Pursuit trap me, which is actually the play, in my opinion, that I should have done. Because Meteor Mash has a very solid chance of 2-hit KOing Crocodile unless he's like defensive, I 2-hit KO him all the time. And like I can shoot a knockoff or an Earthquake if he decides to come in. So I should have gone for the Meteor Mash, but I decided to go for Rocks just to pressure the Aselgor a little bit more. And he actually makes the switch into Crocodile. The reason why I went for Rocks is because I also thought he might then just Earthquake, for example, with the Bronzong, in order to like get some chip on the Metagross to open things up for the Magiana, and like knowing that I can't really touch him, so like that would have made sense for him. But I like get up my rocks and he goes into Crook, makes a smart switch and covers all plays basically. It goes for a knockoff. I'm like I don't really want to switch out because Pursuit seemed very likely here, and I just fire off a Meteor Mash to get some chip off on the Crocodile, but yeah, get the Meteor Mash off and get the attack raise. I do 52%, which reveals to be like a definitely invested Croak. Like he has to have at least like 100 HP EV. So I figured he was like just speed enough to potentially outspeed Finny, and then like had some attack investment and um, some HP investment, or a lot of HP investment even. Like he could have been close to max HP actually by the roll from the Meteor Mash. Like that would have been a high roll then, but figured he was like 156 or 172 potentially in HP. Here I have another big decision, and yeah, I like feel like the Pursuit is coming because Pursuit knocks me out. Actually, doesn't knock me out if I stay in because this Crook doesn't seem to be max attack. And if I stay in and hit him with the Meteor Mash as he pursues, I get a big bullet punch off on whatever wants to come in, or like just a big hit off on whatever wants to come in because I'm at +1. I can like knock out a Aselgor after rocks potentially depending on the set. Can get a huge chunk off on Magiana with 2 bullet punches, which would do like 40% at +1 if he decides to attack to set up obviously. And like if I get this play right and goes for the Pursuit, I can kill him with the Meteor Mash, maybe get to +2 even, which would be really huge for me because then Bronzong can't even check me too well, especially if he only has like stab coverage with like Psychic and Gyro Ball or something, because like Venusaur obviously you gotta account for that. But if he Earthquakes or knocks off again, that basically shows me that he doesn't have to Pursuit, which is good to know. in the late game, meaning that my taunt can always like U-turn out on this thing without having to feed a pursuit, which is like good to know. So I decided to go for the Meteor Mash instead for the Bullet Punch because Bullet Punch doesn't knock him out, and I don't really need too much chip, or I don't need any chip at all anymore on this thing. Like the only thing that would appreciate the chip would be the Hydreigon so that I can knock it out with the Earth Power, but I didn't feel like it was worth it just because like I have so many checks and counters to this Crocodile. I didn't even need to like get this chip off. So I decided to go for a medium range as my opponent actually decided to Earthquake here. So had I gone into Torn or Hydreigon here, which would have been my switch, and that would have been a great play. But he kills me. It is fine. It like leaves me kind of weak to Latios, but it was hard to play around the pursuits, obviously. And yeah, I figured like probably should have stuck with the Cobra Berry, but what can you do? So this gives me a switch here, either into Finny or into Venus. So I decided to go into Venus to get my Mega off and like just pressure everything he wants to come in. I go for a knockoff here, knowing that he won't stay in. Even if he stays in, I can like just knock off his leftovers, which means he will go down to any like he can't like get he will get chipped down all the time he comes in, can't get any health back, and will die to most hits after that. So just into knockoff, I get rid of the Cobra Berry, which is nice. Now I know that my Hydrant can just knock out the Zonga. The damage it did with the Cobra reveals to me that he is like mostly physically defensive, which makes sense for a potential um, Mamoswine. I was really surprised that he didn't bring Rotom Wash because that was like his designated Mamoswine counter when we played in week 5 or so. But this Bronzong does the job fairly well as well, even though like Rotom has a better shot at like staying healthy because of Pain Split or Rest of Chest though. But this was like his designated Mamoswine counter. Like I wish now that I had brought the Mamoswine over the Metagross, looking at his team, like Mamoswine just eats his team alive. But yeah, what can you do? I decided to go into my Hydreigon here because the reason why he brings in Bronzong versus me is that he either wants to get up a screen or hit me with a Psychic or then Headbutt. Like it's a very predictable play, but it's the play that I have to make because no Bronzong can really touch Hydreigon unless he fights with a Gyro Ball here, which wouldn't be the play versus Venusaur, I felt like. And yeah, like he goes for the Zen Headbutt as you see. So there was no way he was predicting me to switch out into anything and go for a Toxic in front of Venusaur. So yeah, make the safe play and go into Hydra here. Now with this Bronzing around, I still think he wants to save it to potentially get up rocks later, versus me to like come in on the Feeny and wants to go for defog and then spam rocks to suicide or to sack this Bronzong for in order to keep rocks up, which is definitely a play that he can make. So I figured he wanted to switch out, either into Crook or Magiana, which seem to be the better checks for Hydreigon, because like losing Bronzong here doesn't accomplish anything for him, which means it would just mean that I can defog away with Finny and never have rocks up on my side. And rocks are huge for Latios to potentially sweep late game as well as Magiana. So I figured he was safe in this Bronzong all the time, and I go for the Earth Power here as my opponent actually makes the play and goes into Magiana, which is great for me. He reads the Sugar Berry, smart prep on his part. I do 25%, which means this is definitely a max HP Magiana. And now, like, I have to make a decision. Do I go for the Z move now? I felt like after I didn't show Life Orb, I felt like Earth Power was like screaming I have the Tectonic Rage, but I also could have been a Scarf variant, which makes sense for Latios potentially, and like I don't have an evident Scarf on the squad. Hitmonlee could be Scarf, obviously, but I feel like he may think that I'm Scarf, or yeah, that I'm Scarf in this sense, or like just be like a Dreadplate variant, and I'd go for the Z move if you're trying to get him. If he goes into Latios or Selga or even Bronzong, this is like lost turn for me because then I can't kill the Magiana from the ranges even after one more round of rocks. I do around 50 with the Earth Power, but I just have to risk it here, hoping that he thinks that I'm Choice Scarf, and I go for the Tech Rage as he stays in, so I get rid of the Magiana, which is one of the biggest threats with my team, and like this is huge, obviously. Like Hydreigon getting the kill, designed to like beat this Magiana and like get rid of it, which is really huge. Like he used Magiana so well all the time, and now he like lets go turn 10, which is like absolutely fantastic for me. But now, as Helga comes in, I'm really inclined to Dark Pulse here. I thought about this turn a lot, but I felt like it wasn't worth it if he just goes for the Bug Burst, because Hydreigon still beats Crocodile 1 vs 1, it beats Bronzong, it can revenge Latios or force Latios to go for Draco Meteor, which means I can switch out into a sack and then like revenge it with the Hydra, because in -2 Latios can't kill me. So yeah, no reason to sack Hydra here. Go into my Finny, predicting him to just spike up or go for the Bug Burst, and then I can defog, but goes for the spike, and now I'm like in a pretty bad spot. As I said earlier, I'm like super paranoid about Final Gambit as Selga, and if he goes for the Final Gambit here, he removes my Finny as a Latios counter, and he prevents me from defogging, which both would be like terrible for me. So like I know this thing has Bug Burst and the spikes. I think it could have Sludge Bomb, which would just bounce just like 40% or so if he's max special attack. But yeah, I feel like defog here on this Final Gambit is just a losing turn. So I decide to go into my Venusaur, sacking it to Rocks plus Spikes plus a Final Gambit, which would guaranteed knock me out. Then go into Finny to guaranteed get a defog over his Latios, Bronzong, or Crocodile. I wasn't sure if like Final Gambit was the play here, but if he wants to like play for the Latios sweep, for example, Scarf Latios or so with like Dragon Pulse, he or like with just like playing the second game, get the prediction right, kill Tornadoes with 2 Dracos or so on the switch in. Then like sack him on once Phoenix comes in, get damage off on this, and then like predict again. Like Scarf Lati could still put in the work if he like keeps his hazards up, because I'm forced to switch out a lot, making the right predictions and like second monsters it. So I decided to save my Finny and go to my Venus. So I really want to defog, because if he like doesn't have the Final Gambit, I can just defog all the time, all his hazards away, and he can only keep 1 spike up if he wants to. He could just like Moonblast the next one, then go for defog again, but yeah, like I can't risk Feeny going down here, because I need to get a defog off eventually. So I try to sack my Venusaur here. CJ just goes for another spike, I think, or does he go for the? It goes for the Sludge Bomb, I think, which is fine with me. It does 19%. So the Bulk on Veno coming in clutch. Bug Buzz doesn't knock me out. I go for the Synthesis here. Get this Bedef drop, which is on 4, but not like the worst thing in the world, because like now it would do like just 40 max. But he goes for the Encore. Now I know his entire set. I know he doesn't have the Final Gambit, and I can just like with Reno at full, I can just go back into Finny. Yes, it gets weak. Oh, I go into Taunt first. Yeah, making the like smart place. He goes for another spike. I'm trying to like bait him here into going into Bronzong or Crocodile, so that I can just U-turn out into Finny and get rid of these hazards. But yeah, just go for the Heat Wave here first. No reason to like over predict versus this thing, because like Heat Wave is a switch that covers everything. You can't go really into Latios, and like it's a 2K on Croc, it's a 2K on Bronzong, and it kills the SR. So Heat Wave, super safe play. I go for it. It switches out into Bronzong, that like works out perfectly for me. I leave him at a range where U-turn is not a kill, not a KO, even with a crit. So I can just U-turn out into Finny and get rid of these hazards. Like that's what I said. This is the situation that I talked about earlier, that he like saves Bronzong for Suicide Rocks. Basically, he goes for Gyro Ball on my switch, and I can now defog, and he is going to spam rocks, obviously. Smartest play on his part, because it pressures Hydreigon a lot, and now I'm like forced to kill him and have rocks up on my side. But this is fine, like not the worst thing in the world. I just spam defog here, I think. I have 1 turn of terrain left after he kills me with the Sludge Bomb. He makes a smart play and kills me, and now I can go into my Hitmonlee. Yes, this thing has Encore, but I figured he was just trying to attack me here first, seeing what I want to do. Bulk up Hitmonlee is not something he usually runs, so I didn't feel like he was going to Encore me into any attack. So I decided to go for Bulk up here and go for game, basically. I go for the Bulk up. He hits me with the Bug Buzz. You see it does like 20%. This is also huge. He drops it to exactly 75%. I'm at 93%, and my substitute takes 31 HP away, which means I can just sub up twice, and like be at 25%, so I don't get any perfect reversal range at all. But this is fine. Like I don't need to be at 1% to knock out Crocodile anymore, and Latios drops to a +1 knockoff. So I go for the knockoff here. It's a roll if he's max HP. If not, I just knock him out, and it seems to be the case that he's like investing special attack or something and is not max HP. Crocodile comes in and gets intimidated off. I make a misplay here. I go for a sub once, which is definitely fine. But I like when I calc the earthquake damage, I calced Crocodile to go for I calc Crocodile um, versus a +1 defense Hitmonlee. So had I gone for another like after at 50%, Crocodile can actually still kill me with an earthquake if he's invested. I think uninvested earthquake does up to 56% +1 Hitmonlee, and I didn't calc +2 because had I gone for the bulk up here, I like basically won the game right there. But I don't do it because I'm stupid. Like I was super tired when we played and hungover, so that might be the might be the reason why I made the misplay there. Had I gone for a second bulk up, it would have put me down to like 20-ish%, which means I kill this thing and a +1. I knock out the Latios as well with the knockoff, or put it at like 10% or so, even if he has like the Z crystal instead of like an item. I put him at like 10%, 15%, which means he's guaranteed in range for U-turn from Tornadus. But yeah, I definitely should have bulked up again. But now I have to go for the reversal here, knock it out. Guaranteed kill at like +0 attack. Obviously, like unboosted. And Ladius comes in. I have no reason to play around this thing. I go for a knockoff to 62%. As you see, like +1 would have done like 90% then, and leave it at guaranteed range for Tornadus U-turn. Now he's at 39, and U-turn does 37 min to like the Ladius that I expect him to bring, which is like 4 defense or 4 EV in 4 defense, 4 HP EVs, which like also which knockoff damage also shows that he's like uninvested or does his 4 EVs and defense or HP. So at this point he says, "Yeah, you win with Tornadus, but can you let me get the kill on Mega Venusaur?" Because you know Mega Venusaur was basically one of the defensive MVPs. He just wanted to get a kill. He was like already saying GG in the chat. Basically, I let him have it. Just want to show off the Shattered Psyche here. And like if it's I asked him if he was gonna roost or so if he tries to bait me into anything, but he's not a jerk. He would never do that. If he crits me with the Shattered Psyche, doesn't matter obviously. Now I go to my Torn U-turn out. Had he gone for the roost here, I like would have been in a bad spot obviously, but had he gone for the roost here, which he didn't do, like he was saying that like I had to win and it's good. Had he gone for the roost, he could have potentially come it up. Had he gone for the roost, he would have been at like 52 versus my Hydra. Would force him to Draco on the switch out into Tornadus and then go into Hydra, take the -2 Draco and knock him out with Dark Bolt from 52. So that would not have mattered in the slightest. So still would have won if he went for Roost here. Some people were wondering after the game if he didn't want if he went for Roost, but he wouldn't because I could have like just as easily go into my Torn and then like sack it to the Draco and the rocks and the Toxic and then like revenge the -2 Latios with the Hydra, as he actually shows to have the Draco. So he was actually the Carmine Roost Draco and Psychic, but he felt like he lost anyway to Tornadus, so it's all good. I definitely had a very solid chance of winning, even if he was roosting up on my U-turn. So now Tornadus can come in and clutch out the win, and we advance to the finals. And a game that looks closer than it was in the late game because I messed up with Hitmonlee. I could have had like the 4-0 win, but the 1-0 like really represents the game a little bit better. I felt Eric played really well, and it was a close game because Latios, the threat in the back, and Selgar stacking spikes with me was like really huge for him. So yeah, we advanced to the finals finally. Last season I got fucked out of the semifinals, and I'm finally back in the ITL finals where I like where I really wanted to be again. This entire season I was like always like I had always in mind that I want to make finals because you know this in this league my good friend Gypsy King is in there, and like last season when he joined the ITL, he won obviously, and we didn't get our finals match that we so much wanted, and this season looks like to be me versus Gypsy King. He still has to play his semifinals battle versus Sebi, who could win win obviously, but I expect Gypsy to make it through, like not because Sebi is bad or anything, but you know it's the king. Like he is more than like going to make finals. And yeah, this is what I wanted for over a year now, or about a year now, playing my buddy Gypsy in the finals, and I hope it's finally gonna happen to see like if I can claim my status as the GOAT or not. But I'm definitely super hyped about that. GG to my boy Eric. I made a fantastic season, and yeah, that's basically it for this week. Um, I don't know when the finals will be. Probably at some point next week. I don't think this week at all because Gypsy still has to play Sebi. They will probably play in the next 2 days or so, 2 or 3 days. Then we will play next week, which yeah, it's gonna be huge. If like regardless of Sebi or Gypsy making finals, it's definitely gonna be a huge game because both are terrific players and like we have some history together. Like I know both Sebi and Gypsy fairly well. They know my style well, so it's definitely gonna be a hype finals. I'm like not like um afraid of playing Gypsy. A lot of guys in the last month, obviously, you see like what Gypsy does. He just wins every game he plays. Basically, wins title after title. He's like gone back to back to back in the NPL. But like I'm not afraid of the challenge. It's definitely gonna be a tough one. Probably like the toughest matchup I could ever ask for in the finals. But that's why I play this. I want to play the best guys in the business and see how I stack up versus them. So yeah, I might be the guy who knocks out Gypsy over finals for once and like prevent him from getting another chip. But he might be the guy to 6-0 me in finals and basically end my career. But we'll see about that. Maybe I play Sabi and he will beat me again. Who knows? But definitely hype for the finals, regardless of who I play. But if I play Gypsy, you're probably in for wild games. So yeah, we'll see about that. But anyway, thanks you guys for watching. Thank you guys for 100 subs, and I catch you in my next week, which is actually my IDM week 9, which will go up tomorrow, I think, maybe later today, but we'll see about that. So if you enjoyed, leave a like and a comment as always, and yeah, catch you in the next one. See ya.